It's Movie Time is brought to you by the Gateway Film Center, 1550 North High Street, Columbus, Ohio. Further details and showtimes online at gatewayfilmcenter.com.
The award-winning It's Movie Time is produced by John DeSando. Listen to the shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
And I'm Kevin Carr.
And this is It's Movie Time. Kevin.
Yes.
Woody Allen has to have put out at least 45 films.
There's a lot.
One every year.
Yeah.
The newest, a romantic comedy called Magic in the Moonlight.
Mm-hmm.
How does it fit?
It fits part of his filmography, but he has different sections of filmography. Of course, you've got the old Manhattan stuff, and now he's in his travelogue days.
That's right.
And yeah, it's the south of France, so it is fitting in with like Midnight in Paris
Yes.
and Vicky Cristina Barcelona. But it also fits more into his less significant, less meaty and dense character studies. It's more of a light story, and I thought it felt very much like the Jade Scorpion, Curse of the Jade Scorpion.
Oh my, yeah, okay, right. So it definitely isn't Blue Jasmine.
No.
This year, but it's closer definitely for me to Midnight in Paris.
Yeah.
And which is much denser to me, and of course I love all the literary characters in that movie who come back. So, but it has that lyrical quality that sort of attempts. And for me, because when I'm the last romantic comedy I saw was And So It Goes. so I'm looking at this one, and I'm very happy here. And perhaps my most memorable one in the last year is Her.
Oh yeah. Well, that was real out of the box.
I know.
Literally out of the box.
That's right. Very good. So we have Colin Firth and Emma Stone.
Yeah.
Now, this is the Woodman again.
Yeah.
Now, this guy's got to be twice her age. And here he is, an older man with a younger woman.
Well, he's very close to age to actually Marcia Gay Harden, who plays her mother in the movie.
I know.
Which is so Woody Allen. It's Woody Allen.
You know, as you're talking about it, of course, Woody attempts to be philosophical. He's a very bright guy, and one of a genius on his part is that he weaves in Nietzsche. And somehow you don't get embarrassed or outraged that he's trying to pull his smarty pants on you when he mentions it, because he attempts to be philosophical.
Well, and he also is able to do that and be just more pretentious through the character, because Colin Firth's character has a lot of ego and a lot of pretension.
That's right.
And so when Emma Stone doesn't quite know where quotes are coming from, he can be kind of a jerk about it. And it might be Woody Allen being a jerk to his audience, but that's so. Okay.
There's no surrogate for Woody in this one, except that Colin Firth could be considered.
Yeah.
You know, where you had Owen Wilson and Midnight in Paris. Here, Colin Firth in some way doing exactly what you're saying, kind of being nerdy, smart, yet nurturing. Henry Higgins.
Yeah. It's very much a Pygmalion kind of story.
Yes. I mean, basically, for anybody who hasn't seen it, this is all about illusion. Colin Firth plays a world-renowned illusionist who, on the side, debunks fakes. And so he is called in to debunk this cutie pie fake Emma Stone. She's alleged by his friends to be so.
Yeah.
She has ingratiated herself with a very wealthy family. It looks like she's about to get a chunk of money for her illusionist publications.
It makes money come out of nowhere, apparently.
Exactly. What about the set?
Well, I think the set fits very much into that travelogue, the south of France. But what he also does with it, whereas like Midnight in Paris was a love letter to Paris and to the city itself, there's some beautiful scenery in Magic in the Moonlight, but I don't think it overtakes it. It's not necessarily about that's the setting, sort of the way, and this is not a good movie, but how Hyde Park on Hudson used its setting and its locations to that. But it wasn't just, and this I think where it taps into the nostalgia factor of Magic or of Midnight in Paris, is it takes place in the early part of the 20th century. You got the flapper outfits, you've got the jazz music. You really have this sense of yesteryear, to use that corny phrase.
Boy, he does a brilliant job with that. I mean, he's getting very good at it, and the guy can weave in Cole Porter and Igor Stravinsky in the same movie. And again, I get the feeling it's not pretentious. It's just that Woody is very bright, and he loves to have this stuff. But recreating, I mean, you've got an Alfa Romeo that is to die for.
Yeah.
And some would claim that the car is just a little too perfect and too shiny. You know, you can know the complaint.
Yeah.
The estates you were talking about, way too pristine, way too. But I think that's part of the romantic charm.
Well, but that's what his movies have always been. Even when he romanticized Manhattan. I mean,
yes.
Talk to the right people who live in New York, and they'll tell you it's no dream.
That's right. It's certainly different from Annie Hall.
Very. Oh yeah.
And
it's a career away, really.
Yeah. And do you think it's a failure for that reason?
Well, here's the thing. He has been trying to live up to Annie Hall since he made Annie Hall, and everyone's even when he has a movie that's comes back like Blue Jasmine last year, everyone's like, this is his good old Annie Hall days. And you know what? If you go back to some of his more obscure movies, like something like Melinda, I think really
gosh,
it shows his hand. He likes to do the dramatic, but he also likes to do what his version of the light comedy. and that was his conflict in that movie. And so you get the lighter version. I mean, there's a little bit more characterization to Colin Firth's character.
Yes.
There really is, and he goes through some changes rather abruptly at times.
Thank you. Yes, that's been one of my complaints.
Yeah.
But again, I accept.
Yeah.
This is part of the whole romantic formula.
Yeah.
Is that he changes, as you said, abruptly.
Yeah.
And if you're going to apply some kind of reason to it, it doesn't work.
Well, and that's how Woody Allen works. That's I think how he is. He obsesses, obsessive, and then spins on a dime, and that's what he does. And that's just sort of how his process is. I know a lot of people are being very critical of this movie because it's not at the level of even something like Midnight in Paris, which is probably or like Scoop or Match Point rather. Match Point,
sure,
which was
yeah.
kind of his first big return, and that was starting.
Crimes and Misdemeanors.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had some very good Manhattan.
Yeah.
He's had some very good films.
I don't think he's trying to break the mold with this one. This is him taking some time off.
When they were premiering this in Los Angeles, Woody sent a note, a video, and he said, "I am so sorry I can't be there, but fortunately I had another appointment."
No, that's very Woody Allen.
That is very. He couldn't even get into his own. He was late in New York when they were premiering it. He couldn't even get into his own. So I love his whole attitude.
Yeah.
And at 78, I mean, you hate to pull the age card.
Yeah.
But Eastwood 84 and Allen 78. I gotta say, these guys are really good. And when you pull off something as lyrical as this, and believe me, notwithstanding the difference in the ages, I think that they're a great couple. I think there's something about it, though. You could complain that there's no reason for them to love each other.
No.
And you can't develop that in 97 minutes. But the repartee between the two of them in the first half of the film, I die for. I'm laughing, Kevin, every other minute when they're shooting like what, His Girl Friday or the old screwball comedies.
Yeah.
And not quite as fast, but I'm loving it.
I think they definitely have chemistry. I would have liked to have seen a little more development in Emma Stone's character, because so much of the development is heaped on the Colin Firth character. If you were to remove him, everyone's just sort of like going through the motions. And I think what saves it is the chemistry between the two of them, which overcomes their age difference, which overcomes their coming from different worlds.
Yes.
But I think she's just charming anyways. I mean, she's adorable.
She's in his next movie.
Oh, I'm sure she is.
He's coming back home. And his next movie, untitled yet, is about academics on the East Coast.
Oh, wow.
And so it looks like, it's going to get back into his milieu here.
That's what I'm interested to see, because I want to see how his filmmaking and attitude have changed from doing so much European filmmaking.
Right.
Because while it still has all those Woody Allen qualities and the dialogue is still very Woody Allen-ish, he is not the same filmmaker he was in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him do Manhattan too and see what a mess he's made his life in that one.
And in this film, even though I think we pretty much characterize it as light romantic comedy, and indeed it is, he attempts to lace some important issues in there. The difference between reason and faith.
Yeah.
And as he always is obsessed about death.
Yeah.
and how you deal with that, and is there something that comes after? And that's the whole conflict between the two characters. She is a medium, she is a soothsayer, and she is showing him that in fact she is that, and he is a skeptic and a very bright guy and somebody who doesn't believe that there's anything but today, and really has not a very favorable notion about his fellow man.
Yeah.
So Woody, to me, is playing some very important stuff, but lightly.
Yeah.
And,
The whole thing's about the tug of war between rationalism and irrationalism.
yeah, yeah.
And there's a place for both of them in this world, whether it's you're dealing with religion or emotion or love. And I think that I forgive a little bit of, like I said, Colin Firth's character just spinning on a dime.
I know.
Because of that, because even though they seem to be two disparate concepts, they have a lot of connective tissue and they can pull you back and forth.
Yes, yes, yes. It's that time.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask you to award a grade first to this because you are my guest.
Well, thank you.
Kevin Carr, this film is Woody Allen's Magic in the Moonlight.
Yes.
What grade would you apply to it?
I'm going to give it a B minus.
Okay.
A B minus because I think it's better than what some are saying, and I think it's fun for what it is as long as you don't go in expecting one of his greatness films, but it's not perfect.
All right, good. And I'm going to award it an A minus because it isn't perfect, and because I'm a sucker for Woody Allen, and because I love romantic comedies, and because I love the south of France.
There you go.
And I love that photography.
And the car.
And the car. And besides that hokey scene where he can't fix it, and they end up in the observatory. I know it. Exactly.
That's your literal scene.
So, if you want something light for the summer, and I can't think of anything else that would be any lighter than this at this time, it's called Magic in the Moonlight.